All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. And it is now day 2 since the day that my hero, Norm Macdonald, has passed away. It's been awesome in a way to feel so many people's love for the guy. And really all it's doing is motivating me to emulate the parts of him that I loved and to just keep going through some of the material that I've never checked out. So in the spirit of remembering Norm, we're going to check out Norm Macdonald joins Colin. So going on the Colin Cowherd show. I've heard this was always a great Norm Macdonald interview. I have never seen it, and I'm just excited. This is the thing. There is just, thankfully, so much Norm content to check out. So he left us with beautiful, beautiful stuff. So I'm excited to check this out. Comment down below any other suggestions you would have. Mind you, there's about 90-something videos on this Norm Macdonald playlist that I have, meaning I have gone down the rabbit hole. Not Norm Macdonald. He's passed away. I can't do that. But I've checked out a lot of his stuff. So regardless, haven't seen this before, so excited to check it out. And remember to hit like and subscribe. And honestly, you just watching this video with me is the absolute best way to, honestly, to, what's the word I'm looking for? Support the channel. There we go. Let's do this.
If you've watched my show for years, you know I love two great stand-ups of my life are Gary Shandling, who just passed away, and Norm Macdonald. He's a comedian, an actor, a writer, a producer. He's got a new book called Norm Macdonald, based on a true story. Just met him before we went.
You guys got to read it. If you haven't read it yet, you guys got to read it.
On the air, an absolute career high for me. Let's bring in Norm Macdonald. Let's bring him in. Look at him. Run to the stage.
Yeah, baby.
What are you drinking there?
Oh, just coffee.
Okay. I think this is the first time we had someone bring their own coffee.
Person behind me.
It's odd. We're going to figure this out. Pull that mic
Directly
up.
behind me.
You know, it's interesting.
I asked for some cans, but they didn't give me any.
Cans?
Yeah.
A beer?
Yeah. What business are you in? They're they're headphones, but people in the biz, they call them cans.
You are
People in the
beloved
biz.
by comedians. Does that mean more to you? Would you say, okay, I'm going to do stand-up. For the next year, I'm going to bomb everywhere. But comedians will love me. What matters more to you?
No, I don't want to bomb. I would take the not bombing option.
Yes. You would rather get critical acclaim elsewhere.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't really care what comedians think. I mean, if it's a really great comedian, I
Like
like
Letterman,
it.
you cried.
Yeah, if Letterman likes you, then that's a huge thing. But yeah, so Letterman was sort of my Johnny Carson, And my plan was to go on Johnny Carson and be his last comic that he anointed. You know what I mean? That
Sure.
he went like that.
Because he did it to Leno, he did it to Letterman, he
Call
did
him
it
over
to
the couch.
Seinfeld.
Exactly. So I knew he had 8 months left. Or something, and so I went to move to Los Angeles for this reason.
Oh my gosh.
I said I'm going to be his last guest, and then there was this guy that booked the show named Jim McCauley, and God, the first time I went up, he comes up after because I didn't like you, but I'm drunk. I'm really drunk. And then the next time I was doing it, and I look over, and he's necking with a girl.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, oh, this is going bad. And then so afterwards, he goes, you know what? You're a Jay comic, like more than a Johnny comic.
Well, you were huge with Jay.
That means anything, So Jay was doing Monday night, he was guest hosting at the time, but he was going to replace Johnny, and everybody knew it. So, and then Jim McCauley goes, yeah, you're a Jay comic, not a Johnny comic. So that, of course, is meaningless. So I'm like, no, I think I'm a Johnny comic. That's what all my friends tell me.
When you, everybody crap.
This is actually surprisingly a good interview. Colin Cowherd is actually interviewing pretty decent. I didn't expect that. This is great. These are things I've never heard before. This is awesome.
Crafts a joke differently. Like, do you craft them better after, you smoke something, you drink something by yourself in a group? Like, where's it emanate from? When are you at your best comedic writing moments?
Directly before the show, like within that half hour before the show, and then when I'm on stage.
So you're just making it up, basically.
Yeah, but like I'll have a very good idea, You know?
So you go on Letterman, you don't know every joke you're playing.
On Letterman?
Yes.
No. Well, what I used to do, I thought, you know, he wouldn't let me on anymore. But, you know, you have to do pre-interviews on these shows. And you have to tell a guy all your funny stories. And then he goes and tells Letterman. And
They're not funny.
And then you got to tell, you know, he's already heard the story. So anyways, I would make up a whole thing, you know, and then Letterman would go, you know, I understand you have a cat. And I go, I got no cat. You know, but one time I was, you know, in Austin, and I tell another different story. So, and then he got a kick out of that. And then after a while, I didn't have to do any pre-interviews.
Okay, I have an idea for a joke.
Oh, you have an idea?
Okay, I'm not funny, but I have
I love you. I think you are funny.
Not really.
And I love this show.
Okay, are you ready to hear this?
Yes.
Now, I can't do this joke, so my staff has actually warned me not to do this with you. They said
It's true.
They've all said,
It's bad.
he's a legend. You're an idiot, Colin.
No.
Don't do this. I've been warned by everybody. I have a premise for a joke.
Yeah, you believe in it.
Okay,
so why
can
would you listen to your staff?
That's a great question,
You
Norm.
have staff too?
Just love when Norm drops like truth. If you believe in something, go do it. It's what Norm would say.
Well, I had
I go.
staff a couple of months ago.
So here's the
Yeah,
premise.
I think I had MRSA too.
Oh, no.
I had so much antibiotics flowing through me. I was like, anyways.
So I'm sitting with my
So
cat.
this is the joke. You're sitting with your cat.
The other day I'm watching a football game. I'm with
Watching
my
the football
cat.
game, yeah.
And I thought to myself, don't make fun of me. This is hard for me with Norm. So I'm sitting with my cat and I'm watching football.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, she didn't look happy. And I thought, because we just got rid of a dog, and I thought, wouldn't it be terrible if you were a cat and you were depressed? Because you have the ability to climb virtually anywhere to the tallest peak.
Right.
But if you try to jump and commit suicide, you always land on your feet.
That's funny.
That's not the worst thing you've ever heard.
Oh no. I think that would work. I could take that joke.
You can make that funny.
Sure, I'll put that in my next special.
You will not.
Yes, I will.
You would put that in your next special.
Sure. Because it's a funny idea.
Could I make? I've made the argument. Everybody
He's-
has about 7 years to be the funniest guy on the planet.
When are we going to get to the point where I can watch Norm Macdonald without getting sad?
Oh yeah.
Mike Myers, Jim Carrey, Will Ferrell. Then they have a third house and a fourth Lexus, and they're not funny anymore.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Comfort is the enemy
Yes.
of comedy.
That makes complete sense. Yeah.
Comfort. Funny is 8 kids in a small house in Yonkers. Bel Air is
Yonkers
obnoxious.
sucks.
Yes.
So
No offense if
wealth
you're
is
from
the
there.
enemy of comedy.
That makes complete sense. Yeah, I agree with that. And also being content, you know, which I guess wealth brings you, you know.
You're never content.
No.
Why?
No, I was trying to work on stand-up comedy, like trying to make it perfect. You know I never will.
Wow.
But
So are you tortured?
I don't know. I'm always sort of ahead of my material. You know what I mean? So if I do like a special, like I don't like any of those. I wish that wasn't out because I'm already better. You know what I mean? Because I just keep getting better and better because I do so many, you know, hundreds of hours a year compared to everyone else.
Oh, you do.
Oh yeah.
You do more stand-up.
Oh yeah.
You just nonstop.
Like I have to do a special for Netflix, and I'm going to have trouble like picking the hour because I got 8 or 9 hours of material, you know. So when I go on stage,
Dang,
like my
did we
dream
ever
always
get
was I
that?
go on stage and just
didn't.
talk to the audience. Whatever subject they bring up, I already have a bit on it. You know what I mean? So I just speak to them
So if I threw something at you,
like a cat. Like you say, you have a cat. I go, I got a cat too, but you know he's suicidal, and when he jumps off a bridge, he lands on his feet every time, and that makes him more sad, and it's a vicious cycle, you know. And
See, he made it.
I
Look how
don't think
look how
likes
much better
watching
he made it
football
though.
anyway.
That is
Like he'd probably like to watch a show about a mouse. Like cats love to eat mouses, and dogs like to eat cats. I don't know why I'm explaining the food chain to you.
you literally have a joke for everything.
No, not yet, but that's my dream, you know.
I would think most of you're
This is
you're
great.
observational, right? I mean, you're constant. If you're on the road, there's a lot of material. You know, Seinfeld always calls it the comedic jet stream. Seattle, Minneapolis, Boston, Chicago, New York. And when I used to watch Last Comic Standing, northern cities were funnier because it's cold and miserable.
Yes.
Like, are there cities that you've gone to and you're like, it's not as good?
Like the South is not as good. Definitely.
The South is not as good.
No, it's like a different country. And like, and then what happened to me in the South when I would go there and do stand up, there'd be a big fat guy in front. First of all, everyone is a big fat guy.
The whole,
yeah. And they get the girls. Like there'd be a beautiful girl with a big fat guy. And so anyways, the opening act for me, a big fat guy would come out and destroy. And then I would go out with a little tie. This was back in the 80s.
Oh,
a
right,
thin tie. And then everybody would, yell at me and questioning my sexual preferences. And so then about like the second night, the owner would come up and go, how about we switch the order and let that big fat guy go on last? And I go, do I get the same money? He go, yeah. I go, yeah, of course, let's do that. There was one guy in the South, his name was James Gregory. Now this shows you, we've never heard of James Gregory, right?
Never.
And
Never.
So they said, I was in the South, they go, do you mind if James Gregory goes on? I go, no, I don't mind. And then I'm just sitting around, I look at the menu, and it's like the James Gregory hamburger. And like all the food was James Gregory's name on it. And then there was a thing on the top that had a caricature of his face, said James Gregory, the funniest man in the world. So, which is pretty ballsy, right? And then that's how the guy announces him, the funniest guy in the world. Then he goes on, and sure enough, he's the funniest guy in the world. And then I have to go on, and I just suck, And I'm like, and so the guy's like, how about that James Gregory goes up again? I'm like, oh, no. Let him, can't he just get his hamburger money? And
Norm's book is Norm Macdonald.
Man, I couldn't stop listening to that full segment. I don't know how long we went without pausing. I'm sure you all, like me, just, what would we want me to talk over Norm? These are great stories like I've never heard before. And I haven't heard Norm speak so seriously about his craft. Like I know he talks about it. We check it out on like the podcast a lot. And he talks about stand-up comedy. He clearly thinks about it a lot. In like a very like, how do I say it? I don't know how to describe it besides it's clear that he wanted to develop the mastery in this thing he loves. And it's cool to hear him here where he's like, I just wanted to get as good at this one thing as I possibly could. And it clearly worked. Look how much we all love him and mourn him. I'm still I cannot believe that right here and during so many of these things the past little bit, when he wrote that book, that he had cancer. What do y'all think about that?
Donald, based on a true story.
a memoir.
Is a memoir.
Yeah.
So you can kind of tell your life.
Yes. But what I found quickly when you examine your life, someone once said, it's like Elvis Presley, a man once said that a life unexamined is not worth living. Socrates said it.
Right. Yeah.
But when you examine your life, that's not fun. So I tried to think, what do I do, And then I came to the realization that, like, I wake up, I eat my Count Chocula, and then I'm like, pretty soon after that, I'm like, what am I going to get for lunch, And so I go and get a ham sandwich with cheese, And then I go, I got to eat this, and I got to save enough time because I have dinner. I have dinner coming up.
Right.
And I have to go buy some groceries. So anyways, I realized that most of my time in life was spent finding and consuming food.
The whole book is about
that. That depressed me, I was like, oh my God, I shouldn't be spending so much time on that, and plus I didn't think it would make for a good read. But most of the stuff you do is just repetition of habits, and
feels mundane.
It is mundane, and I don't have enough story. They want 300 pages, 100,000 words, and my life's only worth 9,000 words. I read every autobiography, and the only good ones were Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
He did one that was to his child, and it talked as if he was talking to his child. The autobiography of Malcolm X.
Mm-hmm.
And this one by Rachel Dratch. No. No. Those two, before the Rachel Dratch one, those two were the only good ones because they had so much to say.
I can't believe I got
Okay,
that
so it's
reference.
Norm Macdonald, based on a true story, a memoir. This has been an absolute pleasure for me.
Oh, well, I love you, Colin. I mean,
Hey,
I
listen,
know I said that to Letterman. Now it sounds like I said it to everybody. But I know I love this show. I love this set. It's so cool.
All right, they're telling me I got to get out of here.
Oh, that's the end? That's a terrible ending. I'll do my show. You know, I know how to do it because I've seen so much stand-up. In the end of your show,
Yeah.
you say a joke and it gets a big laugh, and then while they're laughing, you go, "Good night, everybody," and you run away.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's the best way.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, it just fizzles out.
No.
And I can't.
What's she gonna do now?
I go, I'm tired. I gotta get me a James Gregory hamburger.
Norm Macdonald.
He's such a brilliant comedian, bro. If you guys haven't read that book yet, I'm gonna listen to it. I want to hear his voice. What is this, man? I feel weird. Is this weird? Have I become weird mourning this guy? All right. Thanks for hanging out. If you watch this up to this point, really, really appreciate you. Keep walking, keep laughing. Remember, Norm. Peace out.